Hello everyone, my name is Kathy and this is my first video, my first floss tube, my first venture into the YouTube world. And I'm a little nervous, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and get started with all the fun stitching stuff. I'm going to start with my works in progress, my whips. And the first one up, I believe everybody knows about it because it's from Stitching with the Housewives, and it is calendar crates for July. And my next whip is, I'm doing some patriotic stitches, and my next whip is Long May She Wave, which is by Priscilla Blaine, Stitching with the Housewives. And my progress on this, I'm doing this one on a 14 count chalkboard Ada. And my next whip, I'm part of the Berry Club with, it's through Dying to Stitch, and it's, the designer is Erica Michaels, and it's all about berries. This is for the 2021. This is the first, I believe the first installment of that. And my progress is right there. And of course this is all called for. The kit usually comes with everything that you need. An out of print kit. It's by Needle Treasures. This is what it will look like. The kit included like a 14 count Ada, which I wasn't gonna do. So I ordered or started it on a 36 count R&R Beach Brew. And there's my progress for that. And then I kept the tag on there so I can remember what linen I used for that particular project. And my next whip is a stocking. I collect nativity stockings, and my goal was try to finish a stocking a year, but it didn't turn out that way. I kind of collect a little bit of everything, but the stocking is by Gold Collection. That's this particular stocking right here, and I'm just using the 18 count Ada. Yeah, 18 count Ada, and of course all the threads that came within the kit. And there is my progress there. My next work in progress is the Cornwall Cottage sampler by Rosewood Manor. And I haven't seen a lot of people do this, but I think it's really, really, really beautiful. And I'm doing mine with all the called for colors. However, the linen I'm using is a 32 count antique lace by Lakeside. And there's my progress right there. I have more finishes than that, but I didn't want to be here for, you know, more than, I guess, 3 hours. So I'm going to move on to my finished projects, and they are from 2019, 2020, and then of course this year. And the first one I'm going to start off with is Fresh Cut. It's from the Fat Quarter Shop, the Stitch Quarterly. Now I've changed mine up a little bit because I found this frame on sale at Hobby Lobby, and I thought that this edge kind of reminded me of some of the floral motifs that were in the design. Now for me to get this to work and square out, and I've also changed the colors on this, and for it to fit I took out some of the motifs. But here's what I have. And so when I get it framed, I'm gonna kind of fold it in here so you can kind of get an idea of what it's gonna look like. So I'm super excited to kind of see how this comes out. But so it'll look something kind of like that. So, but I can't decide whether or not to put maybe an extra stitch in the middle to kind of be reminiscent of the dots that are here. But I'm feeling like I'm just gonna leave it as is. So, but yeah, I changed all the colors and just kind of made it fit with this particular frame because I think it'll look really rather nice. Now, last year was the first year that I was involved in the Berry Club through Diane's to Stitch, and the designer was Erica Michaels, and I did receive all of the kits from last year. So this particular one, now these aren't fully finished, I just had these stitched. So of course, you know, part of my goal of doing Floss Tube is to basically fully finish some of my items and, you know, get them out on display. This particular kit was Expect Less. This is what it looks like. Finished. It's not ironed or anything. I will do that right before finishing. I typically use a hoop with my stitching. And the next one is Live Simply. And the fabric on this was a 36 count R&R French vanilla. So this was the last kit, and with this kit came a bonus berry, which I've already stitched, I just don't have a picture of it. And this is what the two berries look like. So Give More was the one that came with the kit, and then Be Well, I did complete this in 2020, and that is or was the bonus chart with that particular berry. Now my next fully finished item was another Stitch Quarterly, and I believe it was Hey Pumpkin. Well, it is Hey Pumpkin. And I stitched mine a little bit differently. I put this on a 32 count Historic Beige by Fabric Flare. And I'm just gonna make a small pillow out of this. My next finish is American Spirit. It is a Stitch Quarterly pattern from 2020. And I didn't, on my particular one, I didn't do the little I guess border, top and bottom border on that particular pattern, and I'm just gonna make a small out of this, a small pillow. My next finish, I don't have the pattern for this, but this is another Stitch Quarterly piece, and I believe it was the first one. It was Home. And I believe I'm going to frame this. I haven't quite decided. I thought about the pillow finish. Kimberly from the Fat Quarter Shop did a pillow finish, which looked very nice, but I think I'm going to frame mine. Now, some of these finishes, I guess I'm showing you to kind of be accountable to get some of these fully finished. So like I said earlier, I do collect and stitch nativity stockings. Here's the first one. And this is a kit. I believe it was a Dimensions kit, but don't quote me on that. And my next stocking, this you can get, I think, at Cooler Design Studio. So this is available, I believe, through PDF. I'm not sure. And I finished it in 2007. So it's time for me to get these fully finished. Here's another one. This is a Candemar design. Now, of course, this is out of print, but this is finished. It's not fully finished, obviously, but I finished stitching it. and I finished it in 2006. This one was done in 2017. Now the year these were published are not the same as the year that I completed it, but gives you a little bit of an idea. And my next stocking is by the same designer. I think these were published in the late 80s, early 90s. And I completed this one actually last year. Now this next series is basically going to be a Stitching with the Housewives, or a Priscilla Blaine parade, basically. But here's their free pattern. It was Joy. I'm not sure that's what it's called. Maybe it's Christmas Joy. And so for all the little lights, I made little French knots. And I don't know if I did what the called for. I believe I just stitched with what I had on hand. I mean, it's all done in Classic Color Works. But anyway, there's that. Needs to be finished as an ornament. And then the Chalkful series, which is kind of what got me hooked on all of the chalk cross stitch. Here's Boo. That's the jar. And here's the small. And here's Mary. All of these were done on 14 count chalkboard Aida. I got the kit through Fat Quarter Shop. And then Mary. And all the smalls I believe I'm going to make into pillows. I haven't quite decided how that's going to go, but that is where I'm leaning. Here's the harvest. Of course, they're not pressed or anything. Here's the small that I'll be most likely turning into a pillow. And Snowy. And then the jar. Hip Hop. And then the jar. I can't remember. I should have pulled the patterns out, but I think there were pink flowers on this, but I changed mine to purple. So here's Liberty. And Bloom. Take off an errant thread there. And this is the jar. Now on the Bloom jar, Priscilla stitched it in red. The jar itself was stitched in red. I wasn't too big of a fan of that, so I used the Really Tealy. And then I used the red for the buds of the flowers, and then of course the ribbon over here. And these patterns are from the 2016 Just Cross Stitch. This is Priscilla Blaine. Now on this particular pattern, I did mine a little differently because it was all pink, like all the spring, the outline of the spring was all in pink, and I wanted mine more in blue. I mean, I wanted the pink in there, but I just feel like spring and Easter, there's a lot of pastel colors with pink, lavender, and blue. So I changed that out a little bit. And then I have the fall done. I still need to do the winter and the summer. And then of course the other, you know, she had some other holiday. So I'm coming into my favorite part. I know there's a lot of people, or so they say, there's a lot of people that don't like the haul portion, but that actually is one of my favorite parts because I get to see what everybody's stitching. I don't have a local needlework shop near me, so I really like seeing some of the new patterns and the new ideas and all the new stuff that's available, and I can go hunt for it and of course purchase things. So I'm kind of on a Rosewood Manor kick, and so I had the Cornwall sampler, but I picked up the Leeds house sampler. Now this sampler is done in sulky, and I also picked up the 28 count helix by Picture This Plus, which is what's called for. And I'm going to try to hold this up without it. There, it kind of fell over. It's really a beautiful fabric, so I'll show this without the thread on top, but it's a really pretty fabric. I don't know if you can really get a good color with that. My next haul was American Sampler House by Annie B's Folk Arts. I just love this. It's so cute. And the linen I picked out, I believe it's a 32 count sky linen. I don't know who dyed it, and I can't decide on which blues. Not all of these blues go in the design, but like this one right here, no, it's this one that matches, so similar to the fabric. So I need to get play around and see which one actually will work the best. I mean, obviously the red and the white, actually it's ecru is what the pattern called for. Sorry, I don't think I'm looking at the right place. And I'm feeling a little bit of fall, and I missed out on this pattern last year, but I picked up Pumpkins for Sale by Lori Holt, and then I picked up the floss pack that goes with that. The 911 Stitcher was doing a Carolyn Manning stitch along, start along. I'm not really sure. I didn't participate in that, but I saw this and I just thought it was so beautiful. I just thought it was really cool. And so I got all of the threads that go with it. Now, since this is a full coverage piece, I am most likely going to do this on Aida, but I'm debating on whether or not to do it on a white Aida, or maybe if I should do it on a black Aida, because I don't know, you know, maybe do it on an 18 count Aida, and that way when I use 2 strands it'll have really thick plump coverage, and so the white really won't show through, because I think it'll be really noticeable with the red. And because I'm gonna, when I ordered that, I ordered this. I just thought it was really cool. It's by Carolyn Manning. It's called Blue. It's from her Flower Day collection. And then as far as flowers are concerned, I picked up the flea market flowers. I thought it was really pretty, but I'm going to change the colors on this. And I'm going to use a 40 count alabaster linen. And then some of the colors I'm considering are the blues. So let me see if I can. So I'm thinking about doing the blues Now I saw this vintage from the vintage stitcher. She went thrifting with some of her friends. She picked it up for 40 cents. I did not pick it up for 40 cents. I picked it up on eBay. I mean, the price was reasonable, but you know, there was shipping and you know, it wasn't 40 cents. But I'm super happy to get this. I think it's really cool. I love the cat. I have a cat. And I love the fact that the lady's stitching. And then I'm gonna start looking for some of the charms and things. And then I'm gonna change the color. This is a little, some of the colors. I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna change it, but it'll be a little bit more colorful than what you see here. But it's very nice. Then my next stash, I bought a kit. It's from RTO. I picked this up from Etsy. I believe you can also pick up this kit from thestitchery.com. And I'm using, of course, all the floss and everything. It's stitched on a 14 count Aida, but I'm gonna switch that out most likely to a 28 count Monaco. And I love this pattern basically because it reminds me of my grandmother. She always, even now, she still has geraniums. She has a potted geranium plant. She lives in assisted living, and she's always loved the geranium flower. And I remember every time I went to visit her, or my brothers went to go visit our grandparents as kids, she always had big pots of geraniums on her patio and everything. So I'm stitching this. I'm thinking about making it a pillow, kind of like what you see up here. I don't think it'll be framed. But anyway, it just reminded me so much of my grandmother, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, I picked up some project bags. Notice the geranium. I picked this up from, I believe, Creative Blessings. I heard about her through the 911 Stitcher. And I picked up a second project bag by Creative Blessings. It's really pretty. It's quilted. It's a really well made bag. And I picked up some linen. Maybe this episode should be all about red because I have a lot of red projects. But this is by JuDesigns. It is called Deep Red. And I just love the color. I just think it was such a beautiful, just thought it was such a beautiful linen. And I have plans for it, so I'll talk about those in the next, well, I don't know about the next episode, but in the coming months I'll be talking about that. And I got my Stitch Quarterly this year. For this quarter, of course, this year, but it came in this nice bag with all this confetti sprinkles, and the theme is Hello Summer. It's super cute, all the ice cream and everything. Comes with a needle, of course, the thread. Get the thread, and then you get the navy Aida. It's 14 count. The needle minder, and this one, it has cross stitch finishing dots. They're double-sided, acid free, which will come in handy for some future finishing. Of course, I got my punch needle and primitive Stitcher magazine. So I think that covers it for my first video. I am going to try to edit all the bloopers and things out. There were a couple things that fell and a couple spools of thread that rolled across the table. But hopefully I can get that edited and uploaded. And I thank you guys. I hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.